Hey, geometry students. So I wanted to go over the Unit 5 pretest because the questions that are asked on this test are asked a little bit differently than how I may have had them presented to you by other videos that other teachers have made on YouTube. And so I thought I'd go through the answers to these to help you with your unit test. So we'll start with the first one. So it says, suppose triangle ABC is congruent to LMN, which other congruency statements are correct? So I'd encourage you on your scratch paper to actually draw this out if you are a more visual person and kind of have a hard time keeping letters straight. So the order is really important. If this goes from A to B to C, you can label the first triangle however you want. I'm just going to go kind of clockwise from left to right, and then it's important that I label the second triangle in the same way, LMN, LMN, and this is just helpful for when they don't give you a diagram. So let's see if one of these are true. And I will tell you, since it says select each correct answer, that means there's probably more than one that's true. So be kind of careful with these ones that aren't multiple choice, they're select all. So BCA, B to C to A, is congruent to NML. NML. Notice how the order that I did this one does not match up with the order previously. So that one's not going to be one of our correct answers. And let's try number B, letter B. We have ACB, so A to C to B is congruent to LNM, L to N to M, and that is in the same order, so I'm going to mark that one as correct. Next one, erase my marks there. We have BAC, BAC is congruent to MLN, MLN. That seems to be correct as well. It's in the same order. And then we have last, just double check in here, CBA is congruent to MNLC. Oops, I didn't erase some of those marks. CBA is congruent to MNL. MNL. Not in the same order. These are going to be our correct answers. Let's move on to the next one. Okay, using rigid motion, which statement is true about the triangles? The triangles are not congruent, and then there's other statements saying that they potentially are. Now basically, you want to look here and see, was I able to transform this triangle from one to the other? And this just looks like it straight up went down by a few units. Let's double check that with each one. So D to C went down by 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units. F to A should also be 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and E to B should also be 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That all checks out. And so it seems the two triangles are congruent. Now let's see which congruent statement is true. They have it in the order ABC, so I'll look at this one here. Let me actually erase those green marks. So we have A to B to C, so I need to go from F to E to D. That order does matter. And so it's going to be option C for us. Okay, so which postulate proves that ABC and EDC are congruent? So if you recall from a previous video, we have these postulates that represent the A's represent angles and S's represent sides, and it's based on the information that they give you in the problem. So in this problem, they show that two sides are congruent. These ones with 2 little ticks and the ones with 1 little tick are congruent. And we need a third piece of information to be able to tell which of these congruency postulates is going to work with this. And we don't know that these two sides are the same size. We don't know these angles are, but we do know that these two angles are across from each other because they are vertical angles. That keeps coming up a lot in this class. And so we basically have, if we look at one triangle, we have a side, an angle, and a side where that angle is between the two. And so this is going to be congruent because of side, angle, side. Next, we have which postulate proves that these two triangles are congruent. And Again, they only gave us two pieces of information to be congruent in each triangle. These two with the dashes are congruent, and these two with the doubles are congruent. What's the last piece of information? Well, honestly, none of these angles we can conclude are necessarily congruent just by looking at the diagram, but they do share this side JL. And since they both share that side has to be the same size for both of them. And so this one is the third piece of information. And if you look at one triangle, all the information that they tell us about is all of their sides. So this is side, side, side. That one's going to be the answer for that one. And last we have, let me erase that here, given PA equals 13 inches and CB equals 15, what is CA? Okay, let's do some labeling here. I'm going to make this a little thinner. So PA is 13. PA is 13. CB is 15. CB is 15. What is CA? I mean, you can kind of tell from the diagram that CA has to be, I mean, it looks like it's the same size as the 15, but the reason for that is actually because those two triangles are congruent to each other, and we can prove that. They share this side CP, they have this angle here, and they also share this side as well. Excuse me, they both have a right angle if that one's a right angle. And so by side angle side, they are congruent, and the one in question is going to be the same size as the hypotenuse on the other side, which is 15. And so the answer to this one's just 15. And I should actually type the answer instead of just writing it with my little tool here. Click finish. And those are the correct answers.